So last time around, we were we talked about the purpose of the research, which can be exploratory or explanatory. Then we talked about the process of the research, which can be quantitative and qualitative, outcome of the research, which can be applied or basic. Now, the last thing which we need to discuss is the logic of research. So the logic of research can either be deductive or inductive. So there are two approaches to the logic of research. Let me take you to the slides. Okay. Before discussing the logic of research, let us be very clear. I told you last time around about the hypothesis testing. Hypothesis. So what was a hypothesis? Hypothesis was a statement. It was a tentative statement about your research. Okay. For example, we draw a model in which we had some independent variables and we had some dependent variable. So there was an effect of dependent variable on the independent variable. Let us try it again directly from the topic. So first see the topic. Effect of culture and social media on e-learning environment. First of all, let us determine the purpose of the research. What would be the purpose of the research? What would be the purpose of the research? Is it exploratory or explanatory? Let's say we say that there has been a lot of research on culture and social media. So that means it would be an explanatory research. Good. Okay. Now, after the purpose of the research, there is the process of research. So if it is an explanatory research, first of all, tell me what type of research it would be, descriptive or analytical. See the topic and determine that whether it will be a descriptive research or analytical research. You should be able to know it from the topic. So it is explanatory research. Explanatory research has further two classifications. One is descriptive research, the other one is analytical. Okay, good. This is analytical research. And can you tell me analytical has further two classifications? One is association or relationship. The other one is cause and effect. So which one is this? What do you think? Effect of culture and social media. It should be cause and effect. Yes, it should be cause and effect, because effect, when you say effect, that means there are some factors which are affecting some other factor. So the factors which were affecting, they are called independent variables or factors. and the other ones were dependent. Okay. So there are independent and dependent factors. Independent and dependent factors. Okay, good. So there are two independent factors in this topic. Just see this. Can you tell me who are the two independent factors? Can you name them? Just see the topic and tell me which are the independent factors which are actually affecting the other one. Just see the topic, you will find it. Social media, good. One is social media. So one independent factor is social media. The other one is culture. Good. So there are two independent factors. One is social media. The other one is culture. Okay. And what about the dependent factor? Which one is affected? Student learning or e-learning? In this case, I have written in the topic e-learning. Is this clear? So the independent factors are, or independent, I'm not defining in variables right now, but just assume it. They are social media and culture. And the dependent variable is, or factor is, e-learning. This is what we can see from the topic. Now, this is explanatory research. So we can make hypothesis for it. Hypothesis mean a tentative statement which we will check from our research, whether it is true or false. So hypothesis is a tentative statement. Tentative means whether it can be true from your research. When you will collect the data, you would know whether this statement is true or false. So I can make two hypotheses from this topic only. One is social media significantly affects e-learning. This is my H1. And my H2 is culture significantly affects e-learning. There are two hypotheses which I can drive, which I need to check from my research. The first one is social media significantly affects. Now, significantly affects mean it can be a positive effect or it can be a negative effect. So we don't know at the start, let's say. So it is much appropriate that we should be using the word significantly rather than using positively or negatively. It is up to you. You can use social media positively affects e-learning if you think it will be a positive effect. So this is a statement which I need to check in my research. We call it hypothesis. There is another hypothesis which I will check from my research. So there can be more than one hypothesis in your research. It depends. Some research, they have 20 hypotheses because they have 20 relationships or these kind of effects. So the second hypothesis is that culture significantly affects e-learning. Culture significantly affects e-learning. These are the two hypothesis which I will check. Again, this is only possible with explanatory research. We cannot make hypotheses for exploratory research. Why? Because in exploratory research, we do not know anything, any relationship or any cause and effect. This is the reason in exploratory research, you will just collect the observations, you will just collect the data, qualitative data, but you will not be able to form direct hypothesis. Just keep this in mind. Exploratory research, if you are doing an exploratory research, you cannot write your hypothesis. Is this point clear? So that means whenever you have investigation means the explanatory research, which can be descriptive or which can be analytical. In that case, we will be making the hypothesis. If we have exploratory research, it is not possible to derive hypothesis. It is not possible to write hypothesis. Okay, because in exploratory research, we do not have the framework, or we do not have the relationships to write the hypothesis. Okay, so based on this one, just see the deductive and inductive approach. So deductive approach, when there are two types of approaches, so deductive and inductive approach is there. Deductive approach, you can say it is to test or confirm theory. Okay, whenever we say test or confirm theory, it means theory here means hypothesis. Many hypotheses, they will combine to make a theory. Theory means my theory is culture is a very important determinant of e-learning. I'm saying this, I will prove it with my research. So this is what I am doing. I am actually testing or confirming a theory. Okay, so deductive approach is about testing or confirming theory. In other words, in deductive approach, you will test the hypothesis. You will test the hypothesis. In other paradigm, deductive approach is for investigation. That means if you have explanatory research, then you can have hypothesis, or then you can test theory. Test means some relationships are already there. You are checking something else in it, or you are modifying it, or you are adding something to it. So explanatory research is there, and explanatory research, you will test the hypothesis. That means explanatory research will always have deductive approach. Explanatory research, whether it is descriptive or whether it is analytical, the approach will be deductive approach. Why? Because you are testing some hypothesis, or in other words, or in simple words, you are testing or confirming some theory. So actually you have the framework of what? There is a social media theory. Let's say I just talk about this topic. So there is a social media theory available, that how does social media work. Then there is a theory about culture. Many people have worked on it. Theory means there are researchers who have already worked on that type of research. Then what will you do? You will make hypotheses, same like me. We have derived two hypotheses here. From these hypotheses, you will get some data. Observations here mean data. You will collect some data. Of course, I will collect quantitative data. I will just come to it. And then you will confirm whether your hypothesis is true or false. After collecting data, from the data itself, you will tell whether your results tell you that social media affects e-learning or culture affects e-learning. So this is deductive approach. We also call it bottom-up approach. Simple, you can just think about it as that theory is there. From that theory, you have made some hypothesis, like what I did right now. Simple example. Now I will test those hypotheses through some data. Data means observation. I will collect some questionnaires. From that quantitative data, I will confirm whether the hypothesis is true or false. False mean social media does not affect e-learning. This is the false of this hypothesis. And what about the other hypothesis? Hypothesis 2, culture does not affect e-learning. This is the second hypothesis. So I will confirm the theory or my hypothesis. This approach is called deductive approach. So in explanatory research, we will always have deductive approach. One thing. Second thing, what is inductive approach? We also call it top-down approach. What is that? Sorry, deductive approach is top-down approach and inductive approach is bottom-up approach. So you start from you actually make theory in exploratory research. What is exploratory research? That means there is no theory available, right? You don't have any framework. You don't have any relationship available. So what will you do? You will make some relationships. So how will you make some relationships? First of all, you will see some observation or some data. So from the interviews, I came to know that behavior of students, let's say this is my research, behavior of as students, that means College of Applied Sciences students, is different from Sur University students. Okay, how did I come to this statement? I came to this statement by some observations. So when I went to College of Applied Sciences, I did some interviews or I made some observations with the students. And when I went to Sur University, there I interviewed or made some observations with the students. And on the basis of those observations, I found a pattern. Pattern was that the way the students in Sur College, in Sur College of Applied Sciences, they behave differently in terms of selecting their courses, in terms of their hostel life, if you compare them with the Sur University students. So when I get that observation from the interviews and that type of a pattern means everyone was like in CAS was different. They were behaving differently than in Sur University. So I would make a tentative hypothesis. This is now my hypothesis, but this is not an hypothesis. You can say it a statement. You can call it a statement. But this, now see the difference. In deductive approach, you first make hypothesis and then you collect data. Here, the approach is totally opposite. First, you collected interviews or data, and on the basis of that, you are making some statement. Please keep this distance, this difference in your mind. In deductive approach, you first make hypothesis, then you collect data. Whereas in inductive approach, which is used for exploratory research, you first collect data, you then make the statement. Now this is my theory. Theory is based on my data. I'm saying that behavior of caste students is different from Sur University students. Now people will do more research on it. This was exploratory. Why it was exploratory? I couldn't find any research on caste students and Sur University students. That is why it was a new research. I don't know what will happen. What would be the behavior of the students? So it was a new topic. So first of all, I need to go for some interviews. Based on those interviews, I will make this statement. And then I will say that this is my theory or my model or my framework. Okay, so if deductive and, is it clear? Deductive and inductive approach. Deductive approach is top down. That means the theory is already there. You make hypothesis from it and then you collect data. Whereas inductive approach is you first collect data and then you make some statements. Okay, so let me take you to the paint screen. Just to clarify what I have just said. Let me share the page screen now. Okay, so let us come one by one. So the first thing was purpose of research. So let's say my purpose of research is explanatory. And in explanatory, I have analytical. And you told me that this analytical research is cause and effect, right? The topic which I had written. Let me write the topic again. The topic is, sorry, I will write the topic at the end. The topic is effects of or effect of social media and culture on e-learning. This was the topic, and I could see social media is not a new topic and culture is not a new topic. How would I know that this is not a new topic or e-learning is not a new topic? I have to check the literature review, you know that. So then this topic effect means it is analytical or explanatory research. So analytical research means it is cause and effect. Now the second thing, the process of research. Of course, if it is explanatory research, the process of research will always be quantitative. You will always collect quantitative data. That means you may use some questionnaire or survey to get numbers. I told you numbers can be in the form of like Likert scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will talk about it later, but you must know when there is an explanatory research, the process of research is always quantitative. Then the third one was the outcome of research. And the outcome of my research is, it can be basic, it can be applied. Can you tell me which one is this one, basic or applied? The topic. I chose the topic by myself and then I checked checked the literature for it. So what do you think? Is it a basic research or applied research? Is it a basic research or applied research? Basic or applied? Okay, basic. What about other students? Is it a basic research or applied student? Applied research. Okay, good. This is basic research. Why? Why it is a basic research? Because it is not necessarily a solution to a problem. And no company gave me this problem. So this is not a problem-based solution. I just did that research. So this is just to increase the knowledge, existing knowledge in this domain. So this is a basic research or a fundamental research. Good. So this is basic. For this topic, this is basic. It can be applied, but here in this case, for this topic, this is basic research. Very good. Now the last one is the logic of research. The logic of research will always be, if it is explanatory, it will always be deductive. It will always be deductive. This is the whole classification of my research based on this topic. If you have any question, you can ask. If you have any question, you can ask me right now. This classification is very important for your future research work, as well as for, you must have this basic knowledge with you. No question. Okay. Then, okay, so this one is okay. Now let's say my purpose of research is exploratory. Can you tell me what would be the process of research? Quantitative or qualitative? Now let's say I have some research which is exploratory research. Can you tell me what would be the process of research? How would I collect the data? Which type of data I will collect? Quantitative or qualitative? Exploratory research, what type of data we will collect? Quantitative or qualitative? Remember, interviews, I told you, is a qualitative data. Textual, text, words. Exploratory research, which is totally new. You cannot have questionnaires. You cannot have surveys. You can either have interviews or you can have some experiments or observations. So it should be qualitative, right? Not quantitative. Because this is in the form of interviews or observations. And the outcome of the research can be basic or applied. You know that if it is some solution to a problem, then it will be applied. Otherwise, it is basic. And what about the last one? Logic of research, deductive or inductive? What would be the logic of research? Deductive research or inductive research? Yes, deductive or inductive? Inductive, because you will collect the observations and then based on those observations, you will make some statement or theory. So it should be inductive. Do you have any question regarding this? Okay. You can quickly take the snapshot. Take the picture of this one so that you can use it for your future reference. I have uploaded lecture 1 and lecture 2 in the Blackboard. Those students who have some issues, they can see those recordings. Lecture 1 and lecture 2. You can see the recordings of those two lectures from week 1 and week 2. Quickly take the snapshot of you can. Is it done? Did you take the picture? Yes, done. Okay. Okay. So let me come back to the slides. Inductive approach done. Okay, now there are three more different types of research which you should know. One is the historical research. Okay, what is a historical research? Historical research is a and systematic and objective evaluation of evidences to establish some facts or conclusions about the past. Historical means it is related to history. There are there are people who do research on history. They try to figure out what has happened in the past. For example, Islamic history is more than 1400 years old, Islamic history, since Islam originated on this earth. So there are many facts, there are many, just a second. Hello, good morning, sir. Fine. Okay, so historical research is, so there are many events which happened or incidents which happened in these 1400 years. So there are historians who would tell about the history of Islam, right? Based on some evidences. Remember, it has come through some research. Those incidents, those happenings which happened in these 1400 years, they all have some historians at that time. And so there is a progression. For example, from one, there is a chain process means one person would tell to their son and then it goes on. So this is about the history. So the link is not broken. If you closely or carefully analyze the hadith which we have, so hadith is also a kind of a historical research. So we would believe in some hadith that this is a credible source, whereas some hadith we would not believe in. So what is that? It's a historical research. If there is an evidence that this hadith is true, then we would believe that hadith. Otherwise, we are not believing that hadith. So history, research. And there are also one type of research which is called archaeological research. Archaeological research means there are people who will study the rocks, and they will try to find out what type of animals were living on this earth before. Dinosaurs. How did we see dinosaurs? No. Anyone, even 2000 years ago or 3000 years ago, did they see dinosaurs? No. They didn't see dinosaurs. So, but how do they come to know about it? From archaeology. In archaeology, these research scientists would actually study the remains in the rock, and they will determine how big they were, what was their size, what was their food. So there were different types of dinosaurs at that time. Okay, so this is about the archaeological research. Remember, when you are working on historical research, you need to check the authenticity of the sources. This is what I told you about hadith. So authentic hadith is there if it has an authentic source. So what happened in the previous time? It's historical research. Then there is another important type of research which is called case study design. How can I tell you what is a case study? Case study is applied research. What is that? Okay, case study is a type of research which would be related to only one organization or one company. It's not related to, like in research, let's say you say effect of social media and culture on e-learning. Now this is about the whole, let's say you are doing this research in Oman, so that means your research is applicable in Oman, in e-learning. Okay, so case study is different in a sense that it would be only about one unit or one company. Okay, let's say if I do some research, behavior of students in CAS Sur. Behavior of students in CAS Sur. Now this is only about CAS Sur, College of Applied Sciences students. This is a case study because it relates to only one unit or one type of organization or company. So we will call it a case study. Now, in a case study, it's applied in a sense that you will find a solution for them. Okay, it can be applied, it can be basic as well. Yes, it can be basic as well. Why? Because sometimes you will just write a case about, let's say I will write a case study on Pepsi company. So I will go to the Pepsi Oman and I will see their process and I will write a case about it. Or sometimes Pepsi will ask me to find a solution to their problem. So Pepsi is just one company, so it will be a case study. And I will find a solution to it and then I will write a case about it. That would be applied research. Okay, cases are very important for a country. Why? Because you write cases about the local companies or businesses which are doing their business in your country. So you come to know about the companies or what type of business practices those companies are doing in your country. This is a research which is local research. Local means related to your country. And it helps. This is not a research about USA or this is not a research about Europe or some other country. This is a research about your country. So cases tell you how your businesses, what type of practices your businesses are adopting, what type of problems they are facing. So there are many universities in the world, top universities in the world, where they only teach case studies to their students. Only teach case studies to their students. So they have teachers or researchers who will write cases and they will discuss those cases in the class. Not bachelor's level, but at the master's level. Or if at the bachelor's level, then at the last year of your bachelor's degree. When you have a lot of knowledge with you, then they will discuss some courses which are only case-based. Case-based mean they will give a case to the students and students will read the case and they will analyze the case and they will discuss it in the class. Top universities in the world, they use it. I'm talking about Cambridge and Oxford. They are the ones who started that case-based studies. So they will only study cases in their courses. No book at that time. Cases give you experience. How to solve, if you see some problem on the case, how would you solve it? How would you tackle it? So cases are very important. Case study design is also a very important type of research. See this. This is the in-depth comprehensive study of a person or a group or episode or a process. That means one thing, an institution or any unit. It is the most popular type of research method. Most popular. Most popular. That means it's more popular than writing research papers or doing explanatory or exploratory research. It's more popular than that. So what is the interaction of the people in, let's say I'm writing a case about the human resource utilization by Lulu hypermarket. Lulu hypermarket. So I will write a case about how do they develop and manage their human resource. Human resource means workers. So it will be a case study. Okay. Then the last one is the experimental. Is it okay? What I just said. Is there any question on historical research and case study design? In this course, we will not study how to write a case, but you should know what is a case study. We will study how to write a research paper, but we will not study how to write a case. Case is little bit different from writing a research paper, but you must know what is a case study. Maybe in future, if you pursue your studies in some other country, you will come to know about cases. The last type of research is experimental design. Experimental design. Experimental design is for causal relations. So experimental design is similar to our cause and effect. Cause and effect. So you will have some independent variables and you will have a dependent variable. And you will see the causal relationships. Causal relationships mean there are some factors or variables which are affecting the dependent variable. Independent variables affecting the dependent variable. So you will see the effects of them. This type of research is called experimental design. Why it is called experimental design, or what is the difference between cause and effect, and why did they write experimental design here? In experimental design, you will change the level of independent variables. Sometimes independent variables will be low. Sometimes independent variables will be high. Sometimes they will be at the average. So you will check the effect when they are high. You will check the effect when they are at the average level. When you will check the effect when they are at the lower level. Does the effect change? Does the effect change? So that is why we call it an experimental design. You experiment on the variables levels. You get my point? Or maybe also for the dependent. Dependent can be high or medium or low. So such kind of causal relations, we call it experimental design. There are researchers who will study analytical model, which is cause and effect, and they will change it into experimental design. Now, you know, in cause and effect, the level doesn't change. Cause and effect, analytical. The level will not change. You don't know whether it is high or low. But in experimental design, they will change the level of the independent or dependent variable. Is this clear? This chapter, this unit ends now. I will start the next unit now. Is it clear? Or if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay, so if it is clear, then I am starting a new unit That is unit 2, which you can see on your screen now. The research process. So now in this unit, we will be looking at the research process. What are the steps of research? So this is what we have. And we have talked about it. We have talked about it. So I would say the first thing which you will do is to choose some, here it is written, choose a topic. I would say choose some keywords. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means, let's say you are a communication student. You are communication students. And you are a communication student and you like to do research on social media, or you like to do research on some communication, maybe on virtual reality or ICT. Or ICT, integrated communication technology, something like that. So this is the keyword. This is not a full topic. This is the keyword. So what I will do after that, I will review the literature for it. I will review the literature related to these keywords. How come I can review the literature? Literature means finding the research papers or the research related to that topic. So I must determine that whether it is a new topic or some researchers have worked on it before. How can I determine it? I can determine it by reviewing the literature. I can determine it by reviewing the literature. Okay, so review the literature. You need to search the databases. It's not like that. I will just go to the Google and I will put my research topic or the keywords there and see if I can find some research papers on it. 90% of the time, you will not be able to read the full paper on Google. So what you need to do, you need to search it in some databases. Databases means there are some websites for which you have to pay subscription, like EBSCO. Then there is EBSCO host. I'm just telling you the names. There is ProQuest. There is ProQuest. There are other databases as well. So what universities do, universities or colleges do, they would pay the subscription so that the students or the teachers in that university, they can access those databases and they can search their keywords and they would be able to find the research papers related to it. In our college, we had the subscription of EBSCO. EBSCO subscription was there, but unfortunately last year it expired. Not last year, at the end of December 2019, it expired. Now we don't have access to EBSCO. So what would you do now to search your literature? This is a question. So don't worry about it. I will, in the next class, I will install one free database and I will help you. I will show you the process and we will install it together on our laptops or computers. That is SCI Hub. It's a free database. You need to install the website. There are some add-ins in that website. You cannot use that website until or unless you add the add-ins. Let me show you that. CI. Okay. Let me show you SCI Hub. Okay. Let me share it with you so that you would know what am I doing. So I will stop sharing this one. I will present you a window. No, not a window. I will present you a tab. Okay, can you see this? You can see my tab now. I'm sharing that tab with you. I'm sharing the tab with you. So let me put my topic here, effect of social media. I want to check if there is some research on it or not. Social media and culture on e-learning. So I put my keywords here and then I will sci-hub.se. Now I will try to open it. It would not open. Look, it would not open. So I have to download the extension and then I would be able to use it. Okay, so in the next class, inshallah, what I will do, I will download this and you will see with me how to work on it. So this SCI Hub will help you in downloading or reading papers. Downloading or reading papers. So in the next class, we will see how to, because now you can see I have just put the keywords, but the papers didn't come. They didn't show up. Why they didn't show up? Because we need to download the extension. It's very easy, but we will do it inshallah in the next class. Why I'm not doing it right now? It will take 20 or 25 minutes, but the point is maybe at this time, next time be ready. If you can arrange your computers or laptops so that you can do it with me. Because this is a very important step for review of literature. When you will be writing your last research report, you have to write literature review. So you need to know about different papers and how to read those papers. We will inshallah start it in the next class as well. What you need to see in the papers, where are the results, there are some important things like problem statement. So then we would be able to know it. So next time, inshallah, I will download this SCI Hub. But now let me go back to the slides. Okay, so review of literature, now you know, is an important thing. And you must know what type of literature is available related to that topic or keywords. Then you will define the research problem. Now, this is very important step. You need to define the research problem. You need to write the research problem. Research problem is a very important aspect. Now let me take you to the paint screen. Okay, so I will clean this up. And now I'm talking about research problem. Let's say I have this topic with me, effect of social media and culture on e-learning environment, let's say. Effect of social media and culture on e-learning environment. Now, let's say you have done your literature review. I'm assuming that we have done our literature review. Now we know what type of contribution we are going to make. Contribution. Remember, I told you there were two types of contributions: theoretical contribution and the next type was contextual contribution. Theoretical contribution and contextual contribution. Now, here in the research problem, now this research problem, now I know from the topic and from my literature review, I know that this is explanatory research, which is analytical, and in analytical it is cause and effect. In a research problem, you will tell about your contribution, which is an important aspect. Now see this. How would I write it? There has been a lot of research on social media and culture. What does this tell me? This tells me that when I did the literature review, I can find many research papers on social media and culture. Many researchers worked on e-learning, environment as well. Many have worked on. So that means it's not a new topic. This is some investigation now. Investigation. However, now your contribution comes. However, this research focuses on defining the effect of social media and culture on e-learning environment, which is still an untapped area of research. And you see, first I told in this research problem, first we are telling that this is not a new problem. There have been a lot of research on social media and culture, and many researchers have worked on e-learning environment as well. That means we are telling that we have done the literature review. You write your research problem only after doing literature review. Then your research contribution comes. However, this research focuses on defining the effect of social media and culture on e-learning environment, which is still an untapped area of research, which is still in which area research has not been done. Okay, then you will extend this contribution. We highlight the importance of social media and culture in shaping the e-learning environment in Oman. In higher education institutions of Oman. Now, this is my research problem. Now, just read this research problem. Can you tell me what type of contribution I am making? Theoretical, contextual, or both? Please be careful while reading this research statement or problem statement. This is called research problem. This is called problem statement. This is called research statement. Just read this carefully and tell me, does it have theoretical contribution or contextual contribution or both? I need feedback from more students. Theoretical and good. It is both theoretical and contextual. Why? Let me explain it. I know most of you would have figured it out. Theoretical, why? Because I am saying, if you see this problem, I'm saying that this research focuses on defining the effect of social media and culture on e-learning environment, which is still an untapped area of research. That means even this topic is not new, but the effect of social media and culture on e-learning, it's new. I am defining it for the first time, untapped area of research. And this is theoretical contribution. And what about the uh, contextual? If you see, we highlight the importance of social media and culture in shaping the learning environment in higher education institutions of Oman. So we are defining it in Oman. Oman means context. So contextual contribution is also there. We are testing this model, testing, deductive approach. We are testing this model in Oman. So this is a contextual contribution as well. So good. This has both theoretical and contextual contribution. Very good. So here I will end the class. The class is going, alhamdulillah, fine. And I don't know, but some students, they are